Hi there. Today I'm going to show you a little bit about Gmail, our email application that we'll be using here in Google. A lot of you probably already know a lot of things, but sit back, relax, and enjoy some of the bits of information that I think you may need. So, in order to access your email, the easiest way, in my opinion, is to click on your 9 dots in the upper right hand corner. That will always swap you between all of the Google applications that you have. Gmail should be towards the top of the list. When you click on that anytime, it will bring you to your inbox where you will see your unread messages and read messages that you've left in your inbox. To compose a new message over towards the left here, you're going to click on Compose. Let's say you want to email a teacher because you have a question, and you stop and think to yourself, well, I don't even know the email address of my teacher. Well, you could look for it in the Google Classroom, but I'm going to show you a shortcut where you can find all of the email addresses of all the faculty, all the staff, and everyone who works in our building. Okay, so in a new tab, I'm going to go to the Limestone homepage. You can see that I've done that already. It's limestone.k12.il.us. Down here at the bottom, I've scrolled all the way down. You'll notice that there's a staff directory. That staff directory does list everyone's email address in this third column here. So let's say you have Mr. Adams, and I want to email Mr. Adams. You can always highlight, right click and copy it, or Control C to copy it. Go back to your email and then go ahead and you can right click and paste it, or you can Control V, which is paste. Remember that you always want to make sure that you include a subject line to tell the person receiving the message why you are emailing them. Okay, so always start with a subject line, like maybe I have a question about what we talked about in class. So then you need to stop and think for a little bit, because this email, this communication is something that will stick around. It will always be in your sent mail. Unless Mr. Adams deletes it, it will always be in his inbox. And so you want to stop and think before you sit down and actually type the email and hit send. Okay, so I'm emailing Mr. Adams because I didn't really understand what was happening today in class, and I'm asking him for some help. Okay, so you don't always have to start your email in a very formal way, like Dear Mr. Adams. You can start it with a hi, hello there. You can start with a good morning, good evening, or something like that. And so I'm going to start my email with hello, and I'm going to leave a couple lines blank there. And I'm going to talk about what class I'm in. I'm going to compose my email. Remember that when you're composing an email, especially to a teacher or a staff member or an adult, you want to make sure that you include capital letters. You want to worry about spelling. Things should be, clearly spelled out. You want to keep your email short and to the point. And then when you are finished, you want to make sure that you kind of sign off and put your name at the bottom of the email. That way they know that you've actually completed your thought, you are done, and you hit send. Okay, so I'm going to say today in class, I didn't understand what we were talking about, and I come in during Rocket Academy tomorrow for some extra help. Okay, thank you. And then I'm going to sign off at the bottom. Okay. Remember that when you hit send, there is no getting your email back. Sometimes students think if they just close out real quick, but once you hit send, especially in our building with our quick internet, that email is sent, it is gone, and there's no getting it back. Okay. Before I sign off, I wanted to talk about some of these tools that you see at the bottom of your screen. This first one allows you to format your text. Remember, in emails, you want to make sure that you don't spend too much time formatting it, changing the color and making it a very scriptive and decorative font. Black and white and leaving the font as is really okay when you're composing a new email. Just in case, though, you need to change the font, all of those things are here in that capital A with the black line underneath it. The next item that you see is to attach a file. When you are attaching a file, it's like writing a letter to a friend and putting something else in the envelope. So maybe Mr. Adams and I are collaborating on something, and there's a document that, or a picture that I want him to see. That is when you would want to attach something. Okay, so again, that's the little paperclip. This next one is to insert a link. So maybe I found a really cool algebra website that I want Mr. Adams to check out. So I've copied and pasted the URL or the address in. Sometimes those addresses automatically don't get activated like a link until you click this insert link button at the bottom of your email window here. And so that's why they leave it there. This next one is the little smiley face, and that one's to insert an emoji. We all know people who over emoji. We all know people who use them inappropriately. So please make sure, especially when you're emailing something that is going to be forever attached to your name, you want to make sure that you're really careful when you use emojis. Okay, but that's what that little smiley person does. This next button allows you to insert something from your Google Drive. And, as a freshman, you probably don't have a lot of things yet in your Google Drive, but let's say that your MPS teacher wanted you to collaborate and work on a PowerPoint a Google slideshow, and so you wanted to insert that and send it to your partner. That's something that you could most definitely do here with this next icon. If you click on it, it takes you right to your Google Drive, and you can see right now I have no documents, so I don't have anything to share with a partner because I don't have anything in my Google Drive. And to start, here for the first couple weeks of school, you're probably not going to have a whole lot of files. But later on, when you're working on a group assignment or when you want to maybe send something to your parents at home or something like that, you might want to insert a document from your Google Drive. This next one is to insert a photo. So when I click on that, again, you'll notice I don't have any pictures in my Google Drive, so I can insert a picture that I've saved to my Google Drive or to my computer, or I can upload a photo based on their URL, which again, most people never really do. But when you are out on the internet and you find a picture, you can right-click and copy the photo image address, and then you could insert it into an email this way. To be honest, most of the time when you're going to insert something, even if it is a picture, you're going to use this little paper clip right down here. Okay. So that was the insert photo. This next one allows you to turn confidential mode on and off. And that's not really something that you're going to be concerned with right now. Remember that this account that we have given you access to is owned by Limestone Community High School. So you want to make sure that you're very careful in what you send from your Google account because it is owned by us, Limestone Community High School. So we're not going to talk a whole lot about why you would want to turn it on and off. For now, we're just going to leave it set as the default. This last one is to insert a signature. And again, as a freshman or sophomore, as a high school student, you're probably not going to have a signature. But what a signature is it's at the end of every single email that you ever send. Sometimes it gets pretty exhausting or old, always typing your name and your title and your address and your phone number at the bottom of every single email. So oftentimes people in the business world will insert a signature so that information automatically pops to the bottom of every single email that they send. Again, not necessarily something that you're probably going to use as a student, but it is one of those buttons at the bottom, so I wanted to make sure to talk about it. Okay, and then of course the little garbage can all the way to the right, which means to completely to throw it away, to put it in the garbage can, to delete it. Okay, it will sit in my email until I hit send. You'll notice in my email box now under draft, you'll notice that there is a number 1. You do want to keep an eye on this number here. Sometimes we'll sit down at our computer and we'll type a whole email and we think we hit send, but something distracted us. or maybe you changed your mind and you wanted to sleep on it and maybe reread it the next day. And so you forget to hit send. So you want to make sure that every once in a while you're checking over here in your draft number to make sure that you know what's there. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this because I'm not a student in Mr. Adams' class, but just wanted to use that as an example.